With the release of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, we now have 13 Illumination films from the Illumination Animation Studio. So today, I thought it was time for me to stop and rank all 13 Illumination films ranked from the worst to the best. I know this video is very late, but I just wanted to do it. Who cares? Please don't forget to check out that Twitter that's going to pop up on the screen right now. My name is SDubNation, and you are free to comment down below your very own ranking of all 13 Illumination films ranked from the worst to the best, just like me, or you could just do your favorite. Please don't forget to check out that Super Mario Bros. Movie review. That link is in the description. And with that being said, guys, without further ado, let's just get right into our ranking. Kicking off my list at number 13 for me has got to go to The Secret Life of Pets. Probably the most boring movie on this list. When it first came out, I was pretty excited for it because it had potential. It could have been the Illumination version of Toy Story, whereas Pixar had the toys doing secret things in their lives without their owner knowing. In Illumination, they have pets doing secret, wacky things without their owner knowing. And from the first teaser and from the first scene inside of the film, you can see all of these dogs just doing cute things by themselves. Cats going inside of refrigerators, dogs taking showers inside of dishwashers, dogs going inside of blenders. All of that was fun, but it never truly lives up to that set potential. The backdrop of New York City kind of works here, and I think it has this very New York vibe to it, but they have a very mean streak inside of the film. The bright, soft animation and the almost hilarious Kevin Hart rabbit can't save this film from being a poor attempt at Illumination's version of Toy Story. Number 12 is Minions, an entertaining enough film, but clearly is not meant to be more than a cash grab, taking characters that work better as nice spice and side characters and giving them their own film. It's not the best because Minions can't speak. They speak in gibberish, and they don't have character arcs. In this movie, it feels like everything came from the mind of a 9-year-old. We have Villain Con. It's a prequel. The Minion Bob becomes King of England. Just really weird stuff, really weird antics that work in many movies. This would probably make a great short in a Despicable Me Blu-ray, but it just feels like one of the laziest and easiest films to ever make $1 billion. I will say though, Sandra Bullock kills it as Scarlet Overkill in her voice acting. 11 is The Grinch. I was very excited for this film as well. In fact, when I heard about this movie, that's when I also heard about the Mario Bros. Movie back in like 2017. Illumination's animation is gorgeous here, and the design of the Grinch is serviceable for their brand. But the runtime here is bogged down by side quests the Grinch needs to do before he eventually wants to steal Christmas. It literally takes a good, I would say, 45 to 50 minutes before he even attempts to want to steal Christmas. And then the last hour is him scheming that plan. 1966 gave us an evil, menacing Grinch. 2000 gave us a menace to society. This just feels like a normal guy. It will please kids, but unfortunately for me, who thinks the 2000 version is a whole lot better, it didn't work for me. It captures the spirit of Christmas with its bright animation, and I do love what they did with the Cindy Hulu character and helping out her mom. That all worked, but the Grinch himself doesn't. In fact, it's kind of weird that they describe him as fur all green, teeth all yellow in the song, when literally this is his design. Not very menacing. Kicking off our top 10 list for me has got to go to the Lorax, a movie that I remember coming out, and a movie that I remember watching. My grandma was so excited to see it because she loved Dr. Seuss's books, and I remember her reading them to me growing up, and it was just a time when it was coming out. Danny DeVito is incredible in the role, and when I think of this little orange creature, I think Danny DeVito. Look, behind all of the adult themes and commercialism and corporate greed songs, this is a cute and clean Dr. Seuss adaptation. Probably not one of the best, but I gotta say, I find this movie to be fun. And if I'm asking the question whether or not I want to watch this or The Grinch or Minions or Secret Life of Pets, I'm gonna choose this one. It's short, it's clean, and safe. Number 9 is Despicable Me 3. Another film I remember coming out. I think my entire lifetime, I remember when an Illumination film was premiering and how excited people were. To be fair, the brothers in this movie are fun. Steve Carell does a great job with his voice acting. He's able to distinctly have two different personalities for the two different brothers. And I think that's perfect. I think I really love that a lot. And this movie feels like a nice return to form for the franchise. The second movie was more about Gru wanting to be good and be with a wife. He wasn't being that despicable in that film. This movie, he wasn't being that despicable as well, but we have another Gru that wants to be a great villain. So in the movie, there is glimpses of that story of Gru wanting to return back to the old life of being the greatest villain that ever lived. And I think if they would have fleshed more on that, this movie would have moved so much higher. The villain also worked for me. As a kid stuck in the 80s, he used to be a child actor. Everything around his character is referencing the 80s. I thought that worked perfectly fine, and it fit perfectly in the mold of Illumination's bags of tricks. The plot sucks though, and it goes on longer than it needs to. Also, different characters are scattered everywhere. I kind of liked it better when they just focused on Gru wanting to return back to that old villain life, which I do think they should have fleshed more on. The minions also have their own plot here. I thought it was pretty fun and cute, and since they had their own movie before this, it felt like a nice return to form for them, because even though they're on their own in this movie, it's a side quest. It's a side mission, whereas Gru is the main character. The minions do something fun. They go to prison. They go to America Got Talent. All of it, I loved. The minions plotline and Drew's plotline were the best. Number 8 for me is Hop. I don't think this movie is as bad. I think when I first watched this movie, the moment I started it, I was like, okay, the first time I seen this movie was on Cartoon Network, and I thought it was kind of mid. I don't really remember it that much. It was years ago, and I was already anticipating this movie being at the bottom of my list. I knew from the jump Secret Life of Pets and Hop were going to be at the bottom of my list because it's just so different. It feels like the black sheep of them all because it's the first and only live-action hybrid film that Illumination has. But it's enjoyable enough. James Marsden is the standout here, and it seems like all of his best films are him interacting with CGI characters. It's bright, it's fun, and an exceptional Easter movie. Only problem here is that the antagonist isn't really the antagonist. In fact, he's someone who is right for the job of being the Easter Bunny. The chick character, he's right at the job of being the Easter Bunny, and EB doesn't want it. So it's like, well, why not? Why can't a chick be the Easter Bunny? If a human can be the Easter Bunny by the end of this movie, I think a chick could have definitely been the Easter Bunny. It's just so odd, so weird. I guess you can kind of tie it back to racism, like that YouTuber Shafrillis said. I'm pretty sure I botched his name.
For 2/3 of this movie, he merely tries to imply to EB's dad that he should consider letting a chick take over the business. So if the movie wants him to be the antagonist, it doesn't work because he does nothing antagonistic. There's no reason why he shouldn't be put in charge of the factory, and he's trying to make that fact clear peacefully. When that doesn't work, he takes over by force, and it feels warranted because he deserves it more than this stuffy old moron and his piece of shit son.
But all in all, this movie is enjoyable enough. You just forget that it's an Illumination project. Number 7, Despicable Me 2. Probably the most watched film of their studio for me. I watched this movie a ton. I think it's really good. I remember most of the dialogue, and also that song Happy played on the radio all the time. If Let It Go by Frozen wasn't playing on the radio, Happy from Despicable Me 2 was playing on the radio, because both of these movies came out in the same year. So if it wasn't Frozen, it was Despicable Me 2. But also, this film takes the found family trope to new levels by giving Gru a love interest, voiced by Kristen Wiig. And I like her a lot, to be honest. They also found a way to keep Gru in action by introducing the Anti-Villain League, fleshing out this world and this environment a lot more. The minions here, probably the best that they've ever been. And whether or not I want to rewatch this or first one, I'm going to rewatch the second one more. I just have more nostalgia for it. Number 6, The Secret Life of Pets 2. If it's not Thor, the best comeback for a franchise has to go to The Secret Life of Pets. I mean, they're at the bottom of this list. It's boring. I don't like that franchise. This movie I love. I love this movie, and I think that's when it kind of starts into the realm of I love these movies. It's so crazy because I literally was anticipating that this movie was going to be at the bottom of the list with the first film because I think the franchise is just not that good. But again, I loved it after a boring predecessor. Secret Life of Pets 2 gives us a film that loses the mean-spiritedness and actually focuses on why we love our pets, which is something the first film was missing for me. Also, a great thing about it is that it kind of plays like a Family Guy episode, where the Kevin Hart bunny has his own storyline, Max has a storyline, and Gidget has a storyline. So all three of these characters have different storylines, but in the end of the movie, they all coincide into a nice little crossover where all of the storylines connect. I thought that was really nice. They gave a character arc to Max that relates to his relationship to his kid. That's perfect, because in the first film, they tried to do that, but it didn't work out that well. It wasn't as emotional. This film goes for a more emotional route and shows, again, like I said, why we love our pets, why we love our animals. And I think all of that worked for me. The only downside here is the mean-spiritedness towards the tiger character. But in the end, that guy gets taken care of. He gets run over by a grandma. I think this movie has everything going for it. The emotions, the dazzling animations, the storylines, all of it worked to connect together. Secret Life of Pets 2 is the biggest jump in quality from the first. Kicking off my top 5 list for me has got to go to Minions: The Rise of Gru. One of the best things that makes this sequel work is the focus on Gru and less focus on the minions that have no arc. In fact, they work particularly the same as they do in every other Despicable Me film, as nice, wacky side characters that handles most of the comedic moments. And the fact that we have 3 prime minions, it's easier for us to connect to them a little bit more. This movie serves as not just a nice villain origin story, but also as a nice underdog story, seeing Gru's beginnings into becoming the greatest villain that ever lived, and also seeing where he gets his mentorship from. I think all of that was pretty good. It's a prequel, so you have a lot of different references to the Despicable Me films that I just thought made this movie a lot more charming for me. Just like The Secret Life of Pets 2, Minions: The Rise of Gru is a significant jump in quality from its predecessor. At number 4 for me is Sing, probably the most unapologetic product of Illumination's bags of tricks. You have cute animals and catchy pop songs. That's all you need. That's all you need to describe an Illumination film, and Sing is literally just that description stretched out to an hour and 40 minutes. This movie has a nice spirit in it that it feels inspiring. The characters are all likable and nuanced, and they all share a dream and a love of music. The voice cast here does wonders, and the songs are all great. I never thought this movie would be so high on my list, because everything that makes this movie so great is everything that I called cringe when it first came out. Kicking off my top 3 list for me has got to go to the first Despicable Me. While I enjoy the event film of 3, which made $1 billion, and love 2, I have so much nostalgia for that film. The first one is just unmatched. Yes, I have nostalgia for 2, but I remember Despicable Me being huge when it came out. The Minions were everywhere, McDonald's toys, every kid on the playground had McDonald's toys, and even though I didn't go see it in theaters, I went to go see Shrek Forever After instead. But the movie was huge and played well inside of schools. From a story and thematic sense, the idea of a villain finding love and comfort in these 3 adopted girls worked for me. We don't get the usual bag of tricks from Illumination, catchy pop songs, cute animals. What we get is a nice story about a villain who gives up that old lifestyle to become a dad. The Minions are all fun. Their antics are not as annoying as the rest of the franchise. They just have a nice little spice in there, and that's what they should be. They should be the nice little spice inside of the film that we see in the backgrounds that we know is there, but they don't overtake the film itself. As far as the rest of Illumination's projects go, I still think that the first Despicable Me has the most heart. My runner-up at number 2 for me has got to go to the newest addition to the Illumination studio, the Super Mario Bros. Movie. This movie is a faithful adaptation. The look of this film is just perfect, and I really like the voice cast as well. I think Chris Pratt did a great job. Charlie Day did an amazing job, and let's not even talk about Jack Black's Bowser. He was the scene stealer inside of the entire movie. Illumination's cute and soft animation lends itself well to the world of Mario. The world building is just so huge, and I think animation was the only way that you can do a Mario movie. Like I said before, the look of it is just perfect, but the pacing here is not the best. Otherwise, it's a perfect nostalgia trip for Mario fans. But I fear that the novelty of just seeing every Mario reference is going to get old very quickly. But as of right now, it worked for me. Ironically enough, my number 1 has got to go to Sing 2. I thought it was going to be Mario. I thought it was going to be Despicable Me, the first one. No, it's Sing 2 that I love the most. This movie is incredible. It's just that good. Everything that you love about the first is on full display here. They're in a new environment, basically Discworld's version of Las Vegas, so they have more flashier shows and a bigger production to put on those shows, and I thought all of that worked. We have better songs, the soundtrack is incredible, bigger musical numbers, and every character gets their chance to shine. Some of the most mature storytelling here with Bono's character, as he's a retired singer that gave up that lifestyle because his wife died, and his wife was his inspiration for music. And I love the fact that this movie is basically like a comeback story for him, and you just get chills as he comes out there on that stage. It is incredible. I think his design is fantastic, one of the best designs in any Illumination movie. All of it worked for me. The movie's actually pretty funny. I mean, look at this clip right here.
I won't let you down, sir.
Better not, or I'll throw you off the roof.
Like I said before, this movie has emotional moments and numbers that just gave me chills, and it has some of the most mature storytelling, acting as a comeback story for one of its main characters in a dazzling display that just had to be seen on the big screen. And ironically enough, this is the worst theatrical experience I've ever had. I had the worst experience ever with this film, and it still came out on my number one for Illumination standards. The Sing franchise's second verse has to come in at number 1. Alright guys, that is it for the ranking. Please know that everything that I did say in this video was just my very own opinion. My list was certainly not the right list, it was just my list, and you are free to comment down below your ranking of all 13 Illumination films, ranked from the worst to the best, just like me, or you could just do your favorite. Please don't forget to check out that Twitter, that's gonna pop up on your screen right now. I know this video is very late, but hey, it's either now or never. Like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Check out that Super Mario Brothers video, that link is in the description. And with that being said, I will see you all next time. Peace.